My car's literally shaking.
Hey man, that's what happens when you just have two massive, beautiful guys. I mean, they know they do anything to the fucking world. Who bloody is anything? You know what it is, man. Okay. But I'm Miss Tulu. Just saying.
You guys, you guys, welcome to today's conversation. Yes. I've got Umatla no Malwande, and I wanted to hear the young opinion. You're not so young anymore, but I'm joking. The young opinions on all the unrest that's been happening in our country. So I'm going to start off with, were any of you part of the unrest? Mang is part of. I'm not asking if did you go and loot. Yes. But I'm asking, did it affect you directly? It affected.
Well, in terms of me, no relative of mine that I know of was affected. But, indirectly I was affected because I couldn't go to town and buy bread, all those necessities. Okay. And so I actually realized how important bread is because I didn't like bread before the lootings began. And then I literally realized that, hey, bread is important.
Bread is important. And Rena, were you affected?
Yes, I was. Mm-hmm. I was affected. Directly and indirectly. Okay. On both sides.
Directly?
Directly is that they looted at home in Newcastle, burnt down everything.
Are you serious?
Even wanted to burn down the house. I don't know where the house comes in, but they wanted to do that. And indirectly, obviously, as Matla said, the food shortages.
Were your family hurt in the process?
No, luckily no one was hurt. My older brothers were there. But they couldn't do anything, obviously, because the community was enraged about something and they came there. If they tried to stop them, maybe something
bad would have happened.
Yeah, but so luckily, they just took a step back and just shot a video about it. And
I think
we were very furious. We were all furious, though.
Yeah,
very mad.
I think that was very mature of them to actually see the situation.
We can't fight this. We can't try and stop this. You know what I saw with the looting and the unrest as they call it. When I was driving from my grand's to home, and as I was driving, my uncle had to leave because he lives in the Free State and he has got work. And in the Free State there was no unrest, right? And he's like, I have to go. And so as my uncle was driving, I was driving behind him, and there was like burning tires on the road at the time, and there was like masses of people on the sides of the road, and you know that moment of, I really don't know what's gonna happen. I remember I stopped because I couldn't see his car, and I'm like, where did you pass? And he's like, right there. And I'm like, so I must just drive in between the fires and so on. And as I was driving down, I see these groups of people. They're walking down, and they are Gubone, when people are rushing to a bus station, they are in a rush somewhere, they're carrying bags and they're in a rush. And I said to my mom, what do you think is going on? I feel like it's just the anxiety of we're getting into a town. I don't know what's going to happen. And as we were getting into the town, there were these masses of people. The mall, the fencing of the mall, the fence itself had been brought down. There were... Have you ever seen Black Friday as if... As if Angazi, there were just masses of people. These old vans were busy with building material, carrying stuff. There were couches on the side of the road. The one thing that... So at first it was like, haha, this is funny. But then it's like, wait, this is not funny.
Yeah, this is serious.
This is serious. The fridge where, in the shops, the fridge that keeps the cool drink.
Yes.
Not the fridges that keep the cool drink, the ones that's written Coca-Cola.
Yes.
Those were on the streets. And I was just like, but you know what hurt me? Tell you what hurt me. Fine. The looting was happening. People were there. There were messes. There was the police van, and these police were just in their car. Right? And I was like, okay, it's chilled. Maybe the excuse that I've been hearing is that there's too many people and not enough police. Okay, it's fine. But as we were driving now a little bit out of the town, I saw these small children just with the excitement rushing
to the place.
And I was like,
what kind of a generation are we breeding?
Very good. I was like, who is to say to the small child,
you can't do that?
This is wrong.
when everyone in your family
when
is
everyone,
there.
the elders, the police are there, and there were rumors that the police were saying to, I don't know how true this is, just rumors, allegedly, the police were saying to the people, you may steal, but don't burn anything.
Yo.
And that's exactly what happened. They stole, but they didn't burn. So I want to ask you, let me ask you this first. How do you feel about the unrest and the looting?
I feel
Matla,
angry.
you can start.
I'm angry about it.
Why?
You know, firstly, the first thing I heard was that people are looting because they are hungry.
Right.
I don't understand how, if you are hungry, you will go and then you will steal, you will burn, you will actually, because some people killed each other there. Literally,
Right.
people died.
Right.
You see. And so, if a person says they are hungry and they go and steal a 70-inch plasma TV, how does that and hunger correlate? You know, I really don't understand that. I feel that, you know, there was a lot of motives. People had something to gain from this. You know, literally people had something to gain from this, because how? I understand. Firstly, it was free Zuma. Then hunger. And that, I literally had to put myself in a situation of, if my parents weren't working, I went to school, I passed, went to university, and I get no job. And I understand the frustration that is frustrating. And with frustration breeds stress, anger, you know, all those negative emotions, you see. And I feel when everything happened, people started seeing that this is a way in which maybe we can relieve our stress, you know, but it wasn't the right way.
Right.
You know, because I feel that we as Africans, Africa has got Africa. And if we,
That's good.
as African people, burn Africa, no Messiah is going to come and save Africa.
Because Africa's got Africa's back.
Yes.
Malonda, how did you make you feel?
I felt disappointed.
Okay.
And the reason why I felt mostly was disappointed. Okay, yeah, there's anger there and other emotions, but mostly it was disappointment in terms of how can you do this, you know? I
Right.
expected more from our generation, you know, because we are born free. We're supposed to know better.
Yes.
Right.
We learned that violence and destroying or destruction breeds nothing but just poverty,
Right.
and non-progressiveness.
Right.
You understand? I'm disappointed at the simple fact that we couldn't understand and think that some people even like escalated this thing, you know, didn't understand the repercussions of this is not something that's by the end of the year it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
This is some of
This is
these
something
things
that's going to
are-
take
Yeah.
5-10 years down the line, that it's still going to hurt us because now companies have lost faith in KwaZulu-Natal
Right.
and they're going to move.
Yeah.
Now when they move, they're not going to say, okay, we're going to take all the people we employed here and we're going to move with them. They're
They're
going to leave
gonna
them
employ new
behind.
people.
You understand? And that will breed more hunger and more poverty than that bitch. So I'm disappointed at how unthought of they did this and how they was just reckless and
You know what? I want to open this discussion to you, and I want you to think. So, initially, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking, this is how could you? Then I saw a narrative, and I'm going to tell you. I think there were 3 or 4 narratives that I saw, things that I had to, you know, because you really don't know until
Yeah,
you're
you're
looking
in
at
this
it, right?
situation.
So there was this narrative. There was a tweet that went around that said, I was busy complaining about how could they. Then I remembered that as I'm complaining in the comfort of my own home with a meal and. So there is narrative number 1 is there is a generation, a number of people who are unemployed,
Yes.
who, well, 1 or 2, the system have failed. I
Yes.
heard a narrative, Eti, whether the rent goes up or it goes down, these people are not considered. They are poor regardless. Services, whether, doesn't matter who goes into power, they are the group of people who,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and happy to back it up. This got me emotional. I saw a young boy, he had been looted, and this girl said, I want to see what's in there, and it was underwear.
oh,
you know. And this lady then said to him, run, run, run before anyone sees you and they take your stuff from you. And it was like, okay, maybe there was a narrative. These people have things now that they would have not had this not happened, because the rich, the companies, the whatsoever never considered the government never considered there's this. And what was scary for me, this narrative was saying, look at the numbers of this. Is scary because we live in a country where there's so many. Look at the numbers of this group of people. Right?
Under the poverty line.
There's so many. Okay, that was that narrative. Narrative number 2. Of course, this is wrong. This is businesses that are going down. This is unemployment, making our unemployment story worse.
Yes.
Because, I mean, they buried our malls where our black sisters and our black brothers work.
In the cashiers.
Right. That was narrative number 2. Of course, this is wrong. Businesses, whatever. Narrative number 3, that said there were other powers at work that did this.
Yes.
Other powers at work that forced these things. There was an agenda, unspoken agenda, which we don't know if it's true or not, because we only know what we know. And I heard rumors of some theory, which this is what the government wants, so that they can let other people come into power. Blah 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 blah. Theories. But how it made me feel was, there was a thing in my heart. I went from how could they to, but this is scary. How can we have so many poor people? How can, and my mother said something, said, never mind the poor, but how can we have so many people who are not afraid of, who have gotten to a place of, I don't care who sees me, I'm going to do this. Because if you know that fear, I can't be seen
stealing, I can't be seen taking,
I can't be seen, but there were cameras and they were there in numbers.
And they didn't care. And
they were posting it on social media. Well, some people were having the time of their lives. And if you can enjoy chaos, right? Because there is a truth that people were having. I saw a video of people pushing each other with coffins and having the time.
Another person shot a video with him eating cake without his hands.
That time of his life. That time. But you understand, where do you have to be for that to be fun?
Mentally,
You understand your priorities, and I was very moved by a statement. SCT, rent goes up or down. Tina, it never.
No, it doesn't affect us.
Right. So that's scary.
Yeah.
That's touching.
It
makes you sort of understand.
Right. And then on the other hand, I said, but you won't understand until your business was looted, like you're saying.
Yes.
So for me to say, but people are poor and people are, but unless your business now you were trying to
make something
of something, and then now your very own business was then looted and burnt down. I want to ask you, how do you feel about the government? Or the governing of South Africa at the moment?
Well, can I say something? I think this is something aside besides that. Okay, we all know the history of Africa, colonization, and all that, slavery, all that. And then came what I can call the African Spring, just like the Arab Spring, the African Spring, where countries gained their independence from their former, colonizers. And so, if you take a step back in African history, I'm not talking about South Africa, but I'm talking in Africa in general. Our first generation of leaders who, after, colonization, who took power, those people were leaders and politicians, you see. So I think there has to be a clear definition of a leader and a politician, you see. We as South Africans, I feel, have looked so many times towards politicians for solutions. And politicians usually don't have solutions because they are politicians. Because our first generation Nelson Mandela, he was a brilliant leader and a brilliant politician. You go to other guys like Kwame Nkrumah, they were brilliant. They were brilliant. You know, Julius Nyerere, those guys were brilliant leaders and politicians.
Right.